Well, hello. Slight break from normal Gaslands related stuff, but I've managed to get hold of some of the new Battletech Salvage Boxes from their new from the Kickstarter. So I've got two of the support boxes, which are two random vehicles. I've also got two of the Mech boxes as well. So I'm going to open a couple of them on video today and have a look what I've got, and then maybe a couple in another video. So I'm going to open two of the boxes up, see what I've got inside, and paint them. So let's start with support salvage box. So let's see what I've got. So let's torn the box, but let's see what we've got in here. It should be two bit. Long way up. Uh-oh. What have I got? What have I got? What have I got? Okay. So I've got, that's a pattern, I think, isn't it? Two heavy tanks by the look of it. A demolisher heavy tank. So there's the demolisher. Kind of cool, isn't it? And I'm sure that's a pattern. Is the card in the box? Yes, the card is in the box. Yeah, that's a pattern. This one here. There you go. So, yeah, two tanks. So that's those. Let's have a look what I've got in terms of a mech. Let's open this one up and have a look. And a little one. It's a flea, isn't it? Yes, it's a flea. That'd be fun to paint, wouldn't it? So I think I'll start with the two tanks first. So I've just popped the turret off. It's easy enough. It's a little ball joint, and I've spray painted it with Army Painter Angel Green as an undercoat. It's worth noting that when I popped the turret off, there was a strange sort of greasy liquid in the joint. So I've washed it with detergent. And now the first stage is I'm going to dry brush it with a combination of Army Painter Angel Green and Army Painter Army Green. I'm going to follow that up now with a lighter dry brush of just the Army Green on its own. And now for some detailing. I'll come with some matte white. I mean, let's face it, plain green is a bit boring, isn't it? It might be realistic and tactical, but this is Battletech, so let's get some colour on here. Stripe there, stripe there. It looks all right. It's not perfect, but it will do. It's nice. I'm going to repeat the process on the gun now, and I'll also add in some metallic bits, like on the gun barrel and the odd little detail here and there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Nothing fancy, but at least it was quick. It looks okay, doesn't it? So let's pop the turret back on. Here we are so far. It looks kind of okay, doesn't it? All I'm going to do now is do something with the tracks. And that something will be to paint them brown, not silver, brown, because I want them to look corroded and old rather than fresh and new. Bit of weathering now, and that'll just be a dry brush with this desert yellow, which leaves us with this quick and easy, but I think halfway decent looking tank. Just got to get the base painted, and then that's it done. And boom, one demolisher tank finished. And without any messing around, let's now crack on with the pattern. Same start process, just different colour. Popped the turret and sprayed it, this time desert yellow from Army Painter. What's different with this process is I'm using a wash, Army Painter Rust Wash, just because I think the colour works well with the desert yellow. Slapping it all over, just being careful it doesn't pull. With the wash dry, I'll be using desert yellow to dry brush back over the top, just to re-establish the original colour. But leave the recesses dark. Coming back in now with a second dry brush, very light dry brush in Ancient Stone, just to get a few highlights. Now it's time to make this thing look a little less boring. And for this, I'm going to use a tiny piece of sponge held in some tweezers that I'm going to use to apply some Army Painter Angel Green, just stippling it on in sort of ragged stripes. You don't want to drench the sponge with the paint. You want it relatively dry, but wet enough that it's going to transfer the paint onto the miniature. Using sponge gives it a sort of raggedy, textured look, which is the effect that I want. So let's have a look at what this camouflage scheme looks like finished. Not too shabby, I think. Slightly reminiscent of Second World War German armoured camouflage, which, yeah, that's the effect I was after, really. So I'm happy with that. I do want to add some colour now, because this is Battletech after all. So what I'm going to do is base coat the areas that I want to be colourful with the ancient stone colour that I did the second dry brush with. At some point whilst recording that last bit, the phone battery died. So you're catching up now where I've touched in some details with metallics and stuff and started to paint in the coloured bits. And I'm using Army Painter Speed Paint Raging Sea for this colour. I'll just finish off the last undercoated panel here. So with that done, and having just touched in a few little details and painted the tracks, he's finished. Not a bad job, I think. So let's put him next to his mate, see what they look like side by side. Yeah, I'm quite happy with them. So tank's done. Let's move on to the flea, the battle mech. So here he is, undercoated in matte white. I'm going to paint him up as House Marek, I think. So for that, I'll be using this Army Painter Speed Paint Purple Swarm. No magic technique here, just slap the paint on, but don't swamp the miniature. With the speed paint dry, I'm now going to come in with a dry brush over the top with a colour that is a mixture of the original purple speed paint and an off-white, in fact the ancient stone that I used for the second highlight. Coming back in now with my trusty ancient stone, and I'm just base coating where the canopy glass is going to be, and also the bits that I'm going to be painting in the classic Marek red and blue. Next stage is to paint in the metallics. I'll be using my trusty ancient pot of Model Air, Vallejo Model Air Chrome to give us some nice eye-catching shiny bits. Speed paint again, blood red. I'm going to be using this to paint in the right-hand weapon pod. And Royal Robes, another speed paint, which I'll be using to paint the left-hand weapon pod, which will be no great surprise, I'm sure. And now Caribbean Ocean speed paint, which I'm going to use to paint in the canopy glass. Another metallic now, this time plate mail metal from Army Painter. I'm just going to use this to paint in some of the metallic bits on the gun pods, which is easier to do after having painted the colour in than before. A quick progress peek. Not looking bad, is it, for a very quick, very dirty, very simple paint job. Now using Grim Black, also a speed paint, heavily diluted to use as a wash over the metallics, just to add a bit of shade. With the base painted black, some sieved garden soil stuck on it, and some bits of clump foliage. I reckon this flea's done. Let's have a look at him with his mates, shall we? It's time for some glamour shots. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. I've certainly enjoyed putting this together. Have you managed to pick up any of these random salvage boxes yet? If so, what did you pull out from them? Were you happy with what you got? Also, please do let us know what you think of the format of this video. Is this the sort of thing you like? Is this the sort of thing you want to see more of? Or do you think it's rubbish? Let us know, because all feedback's a gift. Anyway, that's me signing out. Thanks very much. Bye for now, and take care.